Steve Love here with Prosperity Through Real Estate, and of course, Las Vegas RIA as well. So welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be doing something we usually don't do, and I'm going to be interviewing one of our future speakers. His name is Ted Thomas. How you doing, Ted?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
You know, we've been running this RIA now for nearly 20 years, and I've been taking courses myself, my own education, for many more years than that. But the very first real seminar that I can remember, I took from you, Ted Thomas. And it was not cheap, and it must have been a good 30 years ago. It was up near Mount Diablo, California. I can't remember the name of the town.
It's Danville, California.
Danville, that's right.
Yeah.
Danville, California, about 30 years ago. And it was a several-day seminar. I paid, it was my first expensive seminar. I paid $5,000 for that seminar.
Exactly.
And wow. And we learned so much. And I can't remember how many days it was, but it was multiple days.
It was 5 days.
5 days. We learned so much. And so you were the first expensive seminar I ever went to. Obviously, I believe in education. And so guys, you guys can learn so much from this man. So I'm glad to finally have him back here. But today we're going to be talking about something that most of you don't know a lot about. And we're going to be talking about tax liens and tax deeds. So this is kind of an unusual business. I have a bunch of questions I want to ask you today. And then we're going to do a series of these interviews, Ted, because I don't want them to go too long. But most people don't know this subject. I'm not sure many people really believe in the type of returns that you get. I mean, you generate tremendous returns, and very safely, I should add, with these tax liens and tax deeds. So can you tell our audience a little bit about this business?
Absolutely. So I'll try to keep the answers brief so you can get a lot in this session. So first of all, every property in the United States is taxable. Now that means it's a property tax. It's not an excise tax or an income tax. Every property has a 1 or 2% tax on it. And that tax is always owed to the local county. And if the person doesn't pay the tax, I'll talk to you about two different things. I'll talk to you about tax lien certificates, which people heard a lot about, and then I'll tell you about tax defaulted property. They're a great opportunity in the state that you're in of doing things with tax defaulted property. And I'm going to shock you with some of that as we get through these interviews together. But to get back to it, every property is taxable. If the people don't pay the tax, then what the county treasurer will do is they will issue a default notice. Now, people are familiar with that because they heard about real estate foreclosures. Well, this is the county now, and this is the first tax on every property. So it's always the first lien on the property. And if you can remember that it's the first lien, that's really super important. Now, this is a great way to make money because when people don't pay their tax, the local government has a choice. They can either issue a tax lien certificate or they can confiscate the property. All right, now in California, where most of your people are, or if they're over there in Las Vegas, they're going to find out that if they don't pay their tax, they can go 5 years, the property owner, 5 years. It's the only state in the union that does that. They let them be in default for 5 long years, and then they confiscate the property. They just take it away, they seize it. If there's a tenant in there, they remove the tenant with eviction. If there's a property owner in there, they evict the property owner. So this is happening in every state and in every county, and it's always instigated at the county level. The county controls every one of those properties. Now, the money that comes in pays for a lot of bills, by the way, and we'll get to that as we go along. So that's the basics of tax liens and tax deeds. You live in a tax deed state.
Thank you. And is Nevada also a tax deed state?
Yes, Nevada is also a tax deed state, but there are some cases where they have some liens. But think of it as Nevada is they're very cheap over there. They don't want to spend a lot of money, so they copy all the rules from California. I know because I've done so much business in both states. So they copy the California. After the legislature in California makes them all in Sacramento, then Nevada copies them all and uses them from Carson City down all the way to Las Vegas.
And which of the two states were the 5 years?
No, just the state of California. Most places, I'll give you the opposite of that, just so you know. In Texas, if you default on the taxes, 180 days later, you lose the property to the 180 days. Whereas in California, it's 5 years. So it's a very, very liberal state, very liberal.
Okay. Well, first, let's talk about tax lien certificates. How do they work?
Okay, so let's use Arizona for the example. In Arizona, what they will do if someone goes into default, in other words, someone in Phoenix doesn't pay their tax, what will happen is the local treasurer in Maricopa County will say, all right, you didn't pay your tax, and they will issue a tax lien certificate. Now, these are very benevolent states that sell tax lien certificates. Now, they're benevolent because they don't throw the tenant or the property owner out. The property owner stays in the property, but they're in default. And what the local county did is they sold a piece of paper because what they knew is the government needs money. So they sold a tax certificate. Anybody, like you can sit right in your office right now and buy a tax certificate in Arizona. You can buy it online. We can show you how to do that. So you buy a certificate. Now in Arizona, you buy that certificate, you pay someone else's tax. Then when they come in to pay, just so you know, 97% of the people will come in and pay. When they come in to pay, what they'll do is they'll pay their tax, and then the county will call you and say, send your certificate in, and we'll send you back your money, and they'll give you a 16% interest, which is pretty good when the banks are paying 1%.
Exactly. You're lucky to get 1%.
Yeah. So that's nice for people that have IRA money, 401k money, that they don't want to take any risk. So I like to say that the entrepreneurial people, which most of Californians are, they really want to buy property because they want that appreciation or whatever. The conservative people that have some gray hair like you and I, well, what they want to do is they want to buy tax liens because you invest in the government, you get a check back from that. They're a super safe certificate. If you don't get paid on a tax certificate, if they didn't pay you, you get the property. No mortgage.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. Yeah. So you've talked about how tax liens work a little bit, especially in a place like Arizona. Can you go a little bit more into tax defaulted property?
I'm going to talk a lot about tax deeds right now, but I want you to know the picture you're seeing right now just happens to be a tax lien list in Jacksonville, Florida. See, it says Jacksonville. That's a tax lien. It looks like the same thing. It would look just like this if you got the list in Phoenix, Arizona. There's thousands and thousands. This list is pretty thick. It actually has 32,000 tax liens just in that town in Jacksonville. So you have the same thing if you're in Phoenix. Yeah, thousands of. But now let's look at tax defaulted properties right in your hometown. Right in your hometown, we're going to go. Okay, these are tax defaulted properties. People did not pay their taxes. This is one of the biggest lists in the United States today. This is one of the biggest lists in the United States today.
Wow,
you can't appreciate how big it is until I go like this.
Wow, Los Angeles County.
All right, this is Los Angeles County. These are all properties. Listen to what I'm going to say very closely. These are properties that would be sold with a starting bid of the back taxes. That auction will last from 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 at night. And if they don't finish, they'll auction more the next day. Wow. That's just Los Angeles County. Every county in the state of California will have a list like that. Every county.
Wow.
So that's how big a business. This is a huge, huge business that people don't know about. When people attend my class, they go crazy. They don't believe the information we have. Now, every property or everything I'm going to talk about today, you can sit. Now, you're looking at a computer right now. You can sit at your computer and buy properties. And I will actually show you video of people that have done that, whatever, later on in our training.
Okay.
Pretty good, huh?
Very good.
Yeah.
Now that's a lot of properties. Can one just sit at home and do it online, or do I need to go stand in some auditorium somewhere?
Well, it's both in California. Some of the auctions will be online. Like last week, 2 weeks ago, San Diego had their auction, and they did it online, and they had 600 properties. You could buy any one of them online. So what Los Angeles has done in the past is they make this is an auction list that you can see, that you've seen in the picture I showed you. All right, they might do both. They might have people in the room, and they might have people at home. Okay, you can do both ways. It's going to be up to the county. The county treasurer has power in every single by that I mean authority, has authority in every single county to do what they want to do. So Los Angeles County Treasurer makes a decision on what to do.
Got it. Yeah. So Ted, let me ask you, is the government actually taking someone's house away?
Well, on a tax lien certificate, they're very benevolent. They leave the people in the property and they give them a time limit. So in California, they're also very benevolent, because in California, they have given them default notices for 5 long years. There is no county in the United States that acts like California. California, the complete state, allows 5 years of defaulted taxes. Now, I don't know where you sit or where your client is politically, but the state needs money. Every other state will be collecting taxes for all those 5 years. In California, they're very, very liberal. They don't want to push the people out of the property. They're trying to leave them in there, but they've had 5 years to pay their tax. I don't think you get a collection agency that would ever wait 5 years.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
So, we have almost no speakers like yourself that speak about this business. Is the tax lien certificate and tax defaulted business, is it complicated? Is that why?
Oh, that's a good point. I think every time you see something that's complicated, I remember learning to drive in a parking lot, and I was afraid I was going to hit a tree. And I was in the parking lot, so it was pretty complicated. Before 6 months was up, I had myself in a position I was going too fast down the road, so it wasn't very complicated at that point. But I think when you first learn something, you should learn it by having a tutor and a guide and whatever. Now, that's self-serving when I say that, because that's what I do. But the point is, this is something that's very learnable. All the learning can be done online. You can do it at home. It used to be very time consuming. For example, if I attend an auction in Los Angeles, I spent 35 years of my life living just outside of San Francisco. As you know, that's where we met. And so I want to attend that. I had to drive there and go to the auction. So that, or if I wanted to go to Stanislaus County, which was Modesto, or I wanted to go up to, Gridley up in, one of the counties up in Sacramento, wherever I went, I had to go there. But now everything is convenient and everything can be done on the computer. So we actually have classes where we teach people to do it on the computer. So anybody that can, if they can get on a Zoom call, they can do this. Seriously.
Okay, good. A lot of our people all of our people probably, most are into houses, they wholesale, they retail. And so can they, in this business, can they also, make a nice check, for wholesaling? They might make 25, 30 grand. For retailing in California with our $1 million houses, they may make, 6 figures. Can you do that in this type of business too?
All right. You can make, first of all, we don't teach people to make $5,000 or $10,000. If they can't make 25 grand on the deal, we tell them, walk away from it. Let's go get a deal that you're going to make 25 grand. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you right now about a client before we take our break. I'll tell you about a client. His name is Doug. Okay, now he's from the San Jose area. All right, now people up in that area, they could come to LA and buy, but why not just go out in the Central Valley and buy? So we are not stealing these properties. What we are doing is we're trying to find good properties that maybe are slightly used and abused. All right, we're not buying junk. We will pay anywhere from 10, 20, or 30 cents on the dollar. And I'm going to show you what he did. He bought a $160,000 property. I'll show you the picture. I'll show you his picture. He bought it for like $60,000. So he didn't get a cheap deal. But what he did is he bought a property worth 150. So you're getting the idea. So there's plenty of margin. In other words, the margin between 60 and 150, 160. You get, and so I'll show you a couple of those deals. I'll show you some still pictures of that. If you just hold on right a second, I'll do it right now.
Ted, we have a lot of newbies in our group. and they're just getting started. They may not have any money. So can they start with just very little money, a few hundred, dollars or so?
All right. Now, everybody wants me to say that answer. You can just start with $50. Folks, if anybody that's listening to me, if they want to buy tax lien certificates, you can need to do it online, like in Arizona or in Florida. Remember, everything can be done online. You don't have to travel. So they can buy small tax lien certificates for $500, $1,500. Remember, if you invest $1,500, you make an 18% return. You're not getting rich on that, but you get started. So tax lien certificates are perfect for that. You can buy for $500. I bought tax certificates for $5,000, $7,000, $200, whatever. But there'll be thousands. So I'm going to take you back to that for a second, just so I can show you. Lance, bring me over to camera 2 again, and I'm going to show them a tax lien list. I could show you dozens. This is a tax lien list for Jacksonville that I showed you. If I look it up, you can't see it real close, but you can see every one of those. You can see the actual tax on it. Some of the tax is only a few $1,000s. So they can buy for a few $1,000. And there's literally thousands. I can keep turning these pages. There's going to be over 30,000 just in this list in every county that sells liens. So if you are in Florida, that list like that, there's 1 million tax certificates just in the state of Florida every year. 1 million.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Okay, and are you sure then? I just want to make sure this is, so I have this in my head. If the property owner does not pay the tax lien certificate, do you get the property?
The law is the law, and it's everywhere. For example, in California, if the people don't pay their tax, they give them 5 years, then they auction the property. They just took it away from them. In Arizona, just to use that because it's close by, in Arizona, if you buy the certificate, it'll have a time limit on it, and the time limit is 2 years. And so at the end of 2 years, if that person hasn't paid their certificate, they call that redemption. If they don't come in and redeem it and pay you, you get the property without a mortgage. Without a mortgage.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and again, just so I'm clear, this will be the last question I'm going to ask you. If the guy doesn't pay the government his taxes, what makes you think he's going to pay you on this certificate?
Oh, well, here, I'm glad you asked that question, because if they don't pay the government, you would think they're not going to pay you, except for one reason. 95 to 97%, according to the counties, will pay, because if they don't pay, you get the property without a mortgage. So let's say there's a $100,000 house, the taxes is 1 or 2%. So that means the taxes were $2,000. So I paid the $2,000 and the guy doesn't pay me. I just got a house for $2,000 with no mortgage.
Wow.
So I have people that I'll show you on the next video that actually have spent $11,000 for a certificate and got a $30,000 condominium, a $200,000 condominium.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, so
I'll show you video. I'll show you that on a video.
Let's watch that, and then we'll close for today, and we'll resume it on the next video.
It's a lot easier than you think. It's not so scary once you know, okay, you can just ask these questions. And we turned to Ted, we turned to all his education, we turned to the coaching staff to get the questions we have answered, because they're experts.
This particular property was a very nice property, and in our opinion, nice enough to actually live in. We were in it total for $11,000.
Both of those. And we rented that at $1,225 for 15 months.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we collected all the money back from our initial investment and more.
And more.
And then after holding it as a rental for some time, then we decided, okay, the property is appreciating so quickly.
Yeah.
Phoenix was really hot. We ended up selling the property, and the sales price was?
We had a contracted sales price of $184,000, and $169,000 hit our bank account.